It says streaming live.
Yep.
I'll be right back. I'm just gonna check on Neil.
What'd
Well,
you
on the
put?
top, on the
Yep, so
top
we-
of mine, it says live on YouTube right now.
Did she
Mine
put a
does.
sheet up so we can't see her room?
Yeah, the meeting is streaming live.
It is streaming up. Okay.
Yep. I
All
think
right.
we'll wait for Pam to get back and
Yep.
should go.
Making a cocktail.
Yep.
Be right back. I'm just gonna check on Neil.
It's on my computer.
On the top of mine, it says-
Sorry, I'm back.
Did she
Mine
put
does.
a sheet up so
All right. We are live, Pam.
Thank you.
The meeting is streaming live.
It is streaming up. Okay.
I
All
think
right.
we'll wait for Pam to get
Somebody
back.
in the YouTube
I'm right here.
channel is getting feedback from the delay.
Okay. Are we ready, everybody?
Is that on your computer?
It's on my computer.
you
Sorry,
got
I'm
the
back.
biggest thumb.
All right. We are live, Pam.
Thank you.
Okay, Randy, I'm going to get started. All right.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Right here.
Getting feedback from-
Welcome, fellow property owners. This is Woodhaven's first virtual board meeting. Thank you for your patience. Wanted to highlight a few things before we get started. The agenda is typical of what we do. There's one item on the agenda that we will be handling a little bit differently. That's member business from the floor. And that will be where we've had some previously submitted speak up sheet where Jeff will be giving the reply. Everyone is muted at this point except for the management team and the board of directors. So I just wanted to bring that to your attention. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Randy. Randy, you're on mute. Sorry.
Okay, obviously, under normal circumstances, a Woodhaven board meeting could not legally be conducted exclusively through video conferencing, according to the Illinois Open Meetings Act. When Governor Pritzker issued the stay-at-home order in March, included were provisions to relax portions of the Illinois Open Meeting Act to allow for remote meetings and waive requirements that a quorum of board members be physically present at a single meeting location. The executive order also encourages entities to provide video and/or audio access to meetings to allow members to monitor the meeting. With that, we'd like to remind you this meeting is being streamed live to Woodhaven's YouTube channel for our owners and members to view. We also ask that when we are done with a roll call and you are not speaking, please mute your microphone and remove any background noise to help provide a clear audio experience for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. At this point in time, I call our meeting to order. Christy, roll call.
Ryan Grace,
Here.
Ivan Martinez,
Here,
Christine Moffett,
Here.
Charlie Muir,
Here.
Laura Packwood,
Here.
Pamela Smith,
Here.
and Mike Weinstein.
Here.
All right, thank you, everybody. We'll move to C on our agenda, approval of minutes, March 10th, Board of Directors meeting.
Madam President. Make a motion to approve the minutes for the March 10th, 2020 Board of Directors meeting.
Second.
Discussion. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes.
Madam President, I've received multiple texts that people cannot find the live stream. I tried the link that was in the calendar and it is not showing on Woodhaven.
It's on YouTube. They have to go to YouTube.
I understand that. I just tried the link that was in the calendar for YouTube.
Okay. All right, is that a way, do we want to just pause for a minute before we move on, Randy?
Yeah, let's pause for a moment. I just went to YouTube on live and it's streaming somewhere. I guess we just got to find where it's streaming to.
The Ukraine.
Well, maybe. It's streaming to this Woodhaven Lakes page as opposed to the other one. Are there two pages? 222 subscribers.
Randy is now talking to
The
himself.
different one. What is that? I don't know. Oh, 26 subscribers.
Sam and Randy,
Yep.
can you check your chats?
We can put on the chat on that one page a different link to go to, maybe. Yeah, we're gonna do that here shortly.
Well, no, I was getting feedback on my end,
Yeah.
We are on.
so that we are on.
We are on.
It's on.
There's two. Apparently, there's two different Woodhaven Lakes pages. We're on the one that not everyone's on. We're on a Woodhaven Lakes page with 26 subscribers and not the one with 222. So.
Okay. All right. Thank you,
Well,
Pam. We
it's on
will.
the Zoom. You can search.
Okay, we will move on to number C2, Board of Directors Executive Session.
Madam President, make a motion that we accept the March 10th, 2020 Board of Directors Executive Session as given.
Second.
Wait, who gave the second?
I did.
Okay, thank you, Laura. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We will be moving on to agenda changes. I propose G, new business, 2020 election updates, Woodhaven News, events programming, and the Shady Oaks contract. All right, moving on to the consent agenda.
I have
ESAC,
a question on some of these. When do I put it in?
on the new business.
Yeah, on the consent agenda.
I would ask the question when we get to the specific area.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
For item 1, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the recommendations of the ESAC Board of Review from the Saturday, March 7th meeting as presented.
I have a question.
Yes,
This is
Mike.
the right place, right, Christine?
There's a motion, I think.
Well,
There's a
actually, it's
motion.
motion, yeah.
I'll
So
second the
second first.
motion.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Ivan. And Mike, your question?
Yeah, I'm reading these. Every fourth citation is a different amount. I thought we have set standards for what a first, a second, a third, and a fourth are.
There was.
There's
you have
no-
one-
There's no consistency here.
Okay, Brian?
Do you have a site number that you want to, do you have a question on, or what do you?
Start with the first one, go to the second one, go to the third one.
Okay, well, the first one is 500. The second one,
First one, it says 150.
If they get it done.
not in our minutes here. The recommendations, the first one here, recommendation is 500. The second one, the recommendation is 500. The third one, oh, I'm sorry, it goes to if they didn't comply. Okay,
Right.
so there was, at this particular meeting, I know there was a couple of people that had some different things going on. So if they showed up to the meeting, for one, that's obviously a good thing. So then we took what they had to say into consideration. There was a couple of them that only had one or two small things yet to comply. So although they got to a fourth citation and they deserved a fine, the amount was set to be a little less due to their
Okay, I think on the second one, Brian, on the second one,
Okay.
why weren't there separate citations written for all the separate things? You can't just have one citation for a gas-powered boat, registration on the car, unacceptable culvert, building materials. That's not one citation.
That would be an
That
operational.
was the fourth citation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but those should have
They
been,
were written up for miscellaneous items that were still there and all the items are listed out.
Yeah.
It wasn't, they didn't get, 4 citations for 4 separate things. They had numerous things. They were given a citation from ESAC to comply, the list of problems.
Mike,
That's pretty common, Mike.
That's how they typically do it operationally when they issue an e-cite citation. That's how they've been doing it for.
that's how they do it if they're all at one time. But if you look at these, some of the stuff's been going on for years, not at the same time.
Well, that also could be that they corrected some and others have
Others are
lingered.
still outstanding.
Right.
I just forget it.
Okay,
I have a question.
yes.
All of the dates on here are 30 days after we have this meeting tonight. So I think we need to add some time onto that.
And
Since
we
know
had
I'm
talked about,
coming out this
yeah,
week to work on these things.
I
right.
think operationally, the ESAC department is automatically doing that.
That's
I
correct.
know that there's a handful of these that are probably already complied because this meeting goes back a ways and a lot of people attended this one and they were planning on going straight to their site. So I don't know, Randy, maybe you know, but I think a lot of these are already complied because they were.
I don't know how many, but I know a number of them are, and ESAC will give extra time on the remaining based on the
Okay.
situation.
Okay. Is that going to be noted? Because we send this out in a letter to each of these people.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yeah, and
Yes,
ESAC will contact each of these and let them know the situation and work with them individually on how much time they'll be given.
I think he's right, though. We should have something in our letter saying that you will be contacted by ESAC concerning the time restraint.
Or we say 30 days after the stay-at-home order is lifted.
I would just let it go with the recommendation with, they're going to contact them anyways.
Yeah, just have
Correct.
a footnote.
okay. All right, thank you.
Call for the question.
Yes. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Recommendations are approved. 2020, 2021 budget. So looking for a recommendation on this?
Is Jeff gonna
Is he
read?
going to say anything? Or is he hiding in the corner?
no, I'm right here, Mike.
Yeah.
The resolution is provided for you in the consent agenda. It was presented back in March. The recommendation was supported by the Finance Committee. We are recommending that you proceed with establishing the budget. I do want to address what that means in a general sense. Obviously, with everything that's going on, we're not following the budget at this point. And the importance of getting it approved and getting it into our documents is it's going to give us the yardstick to measure how we're going to be doing this year. So that when we're looking at reports in 2 or 3 or 4 months, we'll be able to compare our actual costs and our actual income with what was projected. And we'll be in a much better position to assess how we're doing. So we would recommend that we approve this. It is based on all the work done last fall. And the resolution is provided in your documents.
I move we accept the budget recommendations based on the fact that we may have to amend it in the future.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
Who seconded that?
I did.
Brian,
Ryan,
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
Opposed.
You're
Okay.
opposed to the budget again?
Yes, I am.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to the 2020, 2021 liability and workers' comp insurance. Amy, I believe that's yours.
Actually,
Oh, is it
Christie,
yours, Jeff?
I will handle
Okay.
that. It's our general liability and workers' compensation insurance. And again, a copy of the resolution is provided in the consent agenda for you. The renewal package for our commercial property, work comp, directors and officers, liquor liability and cyber liability is itemized in the resolution. The proposed cost for the insurance is $176,616. Would
How does that
recommend
compare
that you
to last
approve
year?
that.
Jeff,
Say that again.
how does that compare to the previous one?
It's a slight increase. We're on a guaranteed rate for the commercial packages, with the exception of our auto, which is adjusted based on the actual auto inventory. Work comp did increase, and with the payroll changes that are approved in the next budget, we did have some negotiation with them regarding work comp insurance. And we were able to negotiate an additional credit of about 20% from the amended rates using the estimated payrolls for 2020-21. So it is higher, Mike, but it's mostly from work comp and a little bit
Okay.
from auto.
I
Madam
move we
President,
accept the budget, the number for this.
It cut out a little bit. Can you?
What was the
Yeah,
question, Mike?
I move that we accept this.
Oh, okay.
I'll second.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Who seconded?
Pam.
Pam did. All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
can we play Hollywood Squares later?
No.
No,
Um,
okay.
And Ivan, sorry about that, because I believe you were going to also make the motion. We're kind of cutting into each other here.
Nice face, Mike.
All right. Committee reports. Madam Treasurer?
Okay. We met on March 16th, 7 p.m. Those in attendance were myself, Nancy Roca, Dave Strutzel, Joan Dennis, Mary Salvatore, Helena Walden. Staff present was Jeff Hickey. There was no section representative liaison. Dave Strutzel had approved the minutes from the February 17th meeting, and Mary Salvatore seconded. The motion passed with no objection. We discussed old business, which was the fourth quarter attendance report preliminary. We discussed new business, the February financial statements, which we're not going to go into right now because everything's changing. And we discussed the 2021 budget resolution, which we just passed. Discussed the 2021 insurance program. And there was the only member business from the floor was the notification sent at the time for the response to COVID, which is ever changing. Future meetings, we did not have a finance meeting for April. Our next meeting is set for May 16th, tentatively at Woodhaven. And future agenda items will be the monthly financial statements for March year end, and then the audit process. And motion to adjourn was made by Dave, seconded by Joan, and we were done by 8:02 p.m. End of report.
Thank you. All right, moving on to the Governing Documents Committee. Our meeting was on March 7th. Those in attendance, Dick Gobrick, Tracy Lamont, myself, Kevin Mickelson, Linda Monkton, via phone, Neil Smith, Wes Rossleth, Ralph Pimenthal, John Thanos, and Dana Wayne. Absent was Jane Holland, Karen Roshan, Jeff Hickey, and Amy Ackert were present as present. There was, I'll go through the highlights. There was follow-up in regards to the definition of a culvert, which is which we were asked to review, but it actually had been already passed in the February Board of Directors meeting. Then in number 3, I wanted to bring to the attention of the board the proposed recommendation where it's stated in regards to Article 5, Section 4, boats and boat storage. There were concerns around that. The wording that was proposed was boats cannot be stored on common ground. Boats once launched may be moored lakeside utilizing existing natural elements to tie or tether the boat. Man-made structures or permanent stakes are prohibited. The boat can be moored as long as the property owner is scanned with their property owner pass on Woodhaven property. This does not apply to properties that are not adjacent to the lakes. The committee did not provide a formal recommendation because it was a split vote. So I would like the board to provide me with some specific feedback on that so I can take it back to the committee.
I'm confused. It seems to me over the years, you've never been able to leave your boat on common property. Unless it's a designated boat storage area. What's the difference here?
Mike, that's not,
on Woodhaven Lakes you are.
Mike, that understanding is not correct, because they do, the only restriction that is in place right now is that all boats need to be removed from common property after December 1st, and I believe until March 31st or 1st, I'm not sure. March 31st, I believe.
I think 31st is that rule.
Yeah.
March 31st.
There are no formal restrictions in place between, let's say, April 1st and November 30th. And the current.
You're telling me that we've always allowed people to keep their boats up on the ground in common ground around Woodhaven Lake?
We do not have a statement in the rules and regulations
prohibiting it.
Prohibit that.
I think that this is a little big and we should add something in there. I just can't come up with the words that I'm looking for though.
And that's fine.
And I think we should be, I think at least we should be more specific to, you know, what lakes are common, I guess, would be a good way of putting it. Which lakes, you know, would be considered common property, because people are going to question this a little bit more.
Well, if I could recommend that you review it and submit the details around that, because you know, the majority of the lakes are, well, the lakes themselves are common property, but then obviously there's some lakes that have more common property around them than others.
Yeah.
And obviously Woodhaven is the only one that is completely surrounded by common property.
Ryan, quit grinning.
Okay. The other one is where Section 6, public safety, I wanted to bring to your attention. It says in situations where the committee is wanting to add in regards to Section 6, public safety 06-100-0996 guests, where it says in situations where a member owner has been found by the board to have violated covenants and rules restricting an owner from renting their campsite, the member will be held responsible for the actions of any person gaining access under these conditions. So are there any questions on that one?
I like that one.
Okay. All right. So please, if you could submit any specifics in regards to the third bullet point, I would appreciate it. End of report.
Thanks, Christine.
All right, new business. The first item is 2020 election updates. I wanted to let everybody know that the affidavits are due May 2nd. And if you do not have an affidavit, please contact the association office and they will send one to you, as well as they will discuss with you any notarization options to verify the affidavit itself. The second point, Woodhaven News, I will turn it over to Randy.
Just want to let you know I got to unmute my mic first before I talk. For the May Woodhaven News, we've decided to make a little bit of a format change moving forward because of the uncertainty of where we're going with the events. And information is just changing so fast. So instead of putting out a full Woodhaven News, our plan is to mail all property owners basically a Woodhaven newsletter, which would include required information that we need to get out to the membership, including the election schedule and notices, meeting information and times, as well as any board actions that we have to put out. In there, we'll also direct them to where they can get the most current information, including our website. We do have a specific COVID-19 page that's we've been running all the updates on there. We've been notifying on the app, and those are the primary locations in addition to our social media pages, such as Facebook. And then we'll look at where we go at beyond May, but that's our plan for the Woodhaven News for the May.
And Randy, just as a FYI for the website, it's under the members login, correct?
It is under the members login. There is
Okay.
also a page that everybody can access right on the main page.
Okay.
That says COVID information. They click on there, it'll take them to a page that has a running log of all of the information we put out on Facebook and everywhere else. So
How will this affect our advertising, and specifically the deal we have with the golf course for advertising in exchange for?
well, for the advertisers, Nikki, who does the advertising and the Woodhaven News, she's contacted all of the advertisers. We will either give them a credit for this issue or provide them the first ad next year, a credit for that. So we do have them taken care of.
Okay. Randy, thank you. Thank you to you and Nikki, because there's just a tremendous amount of work in regards to the communications, especially in these times. So thank you very much. All right, moving on to events programming. I just wanted to bring it forth and to, I know there's probably a lot of questions out there in regards to what are we going to be doing with the events programming. I think it's safe to say that we are not going to have our traditional approach where things are scheduled. You know, things are changing daily, but we are taking into consideration, you know, and looking at things on, you know, based on the mandates and whatever, how does that impact the bands at the pavilion, the opening of the pool, the hours for the store and the facilities, the open markets. So all of those things, you know, I'll just going to use the word fluid, that depending on what's going on and everything we have to take into consideration, we will be addressing all of those things. And then Randy's going to communicate it all. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Jeff for Shady Oaks contract.
Okay, I just want you to know that we have been in communication with Shady Oaks. We have agreed between the organizations that the only payment we will make at this point is the balance that we owe them for 2019. All other parts of the program are being withheld until we find out if we actually can participate this year. As most of you know, or all of you know, the program reimburses us for actual rounds played on the basis of those. And obviously, this is not going to be a typical year.
Hey, Jeff, I got a question.
At this time, things are suspended for 2020 and will be reevaluated once we can assess whether or not the program is even going to be available to our owners.
Jeff, are they on a fiscal or calendar year?
They are on a fiscal year. Their fiscal year ends in October.
Oh,
October 31st is their end of their fiscal year. So,
okay.
Our fiscal year is April to March, and
Yeah.
We set the conditions of the agreement to go into effect after April 1st. With everything that was going on, it was a pretty easy decision for both of us, for both organizations to make. But again, all we've paid for is what we owe them for 2019.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff, for the update.
Sure.
All right, we're going to move to member business from the floor. And this is where we received a speak up sheet with several questions. And Jeff, you're going to share the response to those.
Yeah, I'm going to actually read from the information so that we can get the question. The question was submitted by Michael Flanagan, Section 6, Lot 6. He introduced his request as a thank you to the Board of Directors, management for the work you're doing for us at Woodhaven. He had a few questions related to maintaining staff for our operations. Question was, I know we're going through a really hard time with this pandemic, and many people are losing their lives or their livelihoods. What is management and the board planning on doing for the Woodhaven employees is the general question. And two sub questions from that. How many full-time employees are still working? And for those that aren't working, are they getting paid from Woodhaven, or are they required to file for unemployment? Second sub question, do we have enough staff on hand working to maintain all of the Woodhaven property? And if not, are we looking into getting them back working to maintain our buildings and grounds? He ended that with a thank you for your services and be safe. God bless you all. So our response that we prepared to Mr. Flanagan's questions, start at the next slide. Addressing these challenges is occurring in stages, and at this time we have managed to keep most of our full-time staff employed. Public safety staff have continued working during the shelter-in-place orders. In addition to that, our water and sewer staff members and the service center staff members have been keeping those facilities operational and going during that time as well. With all other employment positions, we are utilizing what is referred to as the Family First Coronavirus Response Act to obtain government funding to offset some payroll expenses. This program will allow us to address staffing issues through April 30th of this year. On April 8th, most full-time staff members return to work on a limited basis. Actual hours worked are combined with the FFCRA hours and the employee's decision regarding their own paid time off to maintain full-time employment status with the association. To note, there were a few members of the full-time staff that chose not to participate, and they are currently furloughing through the state's unemployment program. And the last point to address to Mr. Flanagan and to everybody is plans to address staffing beyond April 30th are in a constant state of evaluation. They're going to be based on many factors, and a determination will be made when we receive updated information and recommendations and orders from the governor's office. So that would be our response to Mr. Flanagan's questions. Anything that needs to be clarified to you as board members?
Yes. The full-time members that chose furloughing and state unemployment, are we still carrying them on our insurance?
As a furlough choice by law, we do, but they are required to pay their portion of the insurance. If it continues, Mike, we will have to make some harder decisions on May 1st as to whether they would continue to furlough. What we do know with the new unemployment laws is that if we are released to come back to work, they have to return, or they would be considered unemployed and quitting. So,
thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff. All right, future agenda items. Amy, I believe you have some. Am I putting you on the spot?
Yes, I do. We'll need to be looking at which service for our election that we will be going with at either the next board meeting or the following. I would say the next board meeting. We do have quotes right now, so.
Wait, we do have a quote right now, you said?
We have 2
Okay.
quotes.
Oh,
yes.
2 quotes, okay. All right, and the next meeting is the 23rd. Is there any other agenda items?
Christine, just one more agenda item that we'll need to address, which
Okay.
was originally on this one, would be the feral cat
Oh, yes,
trapping program.
feral cat program, okay.
I've got a great recipe for them.
Okay. All right,
I move we adjourn.
Second.
Ryan seconds. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hey, Philly.
Uh,
I'll
Everybody-
take Paul Lynn to win.
Okay.
You guys aren't old enough.
Thank you, everybody.
we
I
are.
know this is our first, and thank you for your patience and your commitment to this, especially. I know I've been reaching out to you on a pretty consistent basis, so I appreciate the support. Thanks,
Madam
everybody.
President? Yes, I
Yes.
just want to let you know, Cam Chisholm from Communications has been sending me messages, and he was able to access the live stream, so.
Okay, great.
I think what we found is that it started out slow, and Sam, we got up to about 75 viewers. So,
Okay.
That's more
Almost
people than we normally have, so that's.
Yeah.
and we'll only get better if we have to keep doing this.
Right, exactly. All right, well, I believe you guys know which button to push. It's the red down on the, it's the red
Stay
thing that
safe,
says
everybody.
leave meeting.
All right, God bless
Good night,
everyone.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah.